Welcome to Critical Misses. I am Tom T.P. Grant. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm very excited to be here with you tonight playing Beyond the Twilight Road. Before we get into anything, let's go around and meet our wonderful cast, starting off to my left with Julio. Julio, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Julio. Pronouns are he and him. You can find me at PoppyChomplu on Twitter. And tonight I will be playing a very wonderful character by the name of Canario the Butcher. Should I share anything about him now, or should we find out later?
Let's find out. We'll find out as we go. Let's move around clockwise as we move to Velvet.
Oh, hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. I'm Velvet Fair, and I'm playing Maeve Baylor, also Fair, a elf in a human town.
Excellent. Continuing around, we have Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. My pronouns are she, her, and tonight I will be playing Twellaby Harper, also known as B.
Excellent. Moving on over, Faye.
Hi, I'm Faye, or almost Faye. I use they, she, Faye pronouns, and I'm going to be playing Xenoctus, who uses they, them pronouns, who is also an elf.
Outstanding. And finally, Anna.
Hello, I'm Anna, also at Nymeria941, and I use she, they pronouns. Today I am going to be playing Agnieszka, a Grendel Scald, hence the horns.
Excellent. So,
because sometimes you just have to put them on.
Yeah, I mean, like, by the way, everyone here, you all look so fantastic. Love the cosplay. I'm so excited to get started. Tonight, we are playing Zweihander, one of my favorite systems. This is my own personal homebrew world. Zweihander is specifically made for dark and low fantasy, so it is going to be a dark fantasy. There are going to be some dark themes in the stories, nothing too intense, but we are using safety tools, so everyone here is ensuring that everyone here remains comfortable with our game. So you out there in chat, have a good time, and we are going to get started as we dive in to the Daedric Empire. It's a massive, sprawling nation, a patchwork of principalities, duchies, independent towns, and provinces. The Empire is a multi-ethnic confederation and has proved one of the key mortal bulwarks against the ruinous powers. Unified under the Imperial Pantheon, the Empire has held back the Abyssal Princes with faith, steel, and gunpowder. Lots of gunpowder. In the north of the Empire, where the summers are short and the winters are long and hard, sitting on the border between two provinces is an immense forest. Known as the Damarung in the halls of the Imperial Palace, but more locally, it's known as the Twilight Wood. Those who live near the forest still tell tales of the days their forebears walked freely in the forest, hunting camps and logging towns dotting the maps. Then one night, they all disappeared, all except one, the town of Tald. And it was Tald that helped the Imperial Court reach an understanding with the Fae of the Twilight Wood, creating a fragile peace. Those from the Empire don't venture into the wood, and the Fae do not stray beyond the trees. Those who wish to travel through the forest must use the Twilight Road. It is a dangerous but profitable trip for those who undertake it. We begin on the verge of this wood, on the southern end of the Twilight Road. The sun is climbing in the mid-morning sky in the village of Hassan. The town is alive with activity, wagons, people. The late autumn air is crisp and carrying the voices of the different merchants trying to sell the travelers one last thing before they undertake. The Damarung, the Twilight Wood, sits only a few yards north of the village, trees arching over the road. The crowd gathering slowly pulls apart as two figures are moving through the caravan looking for someone. And it is at this point that I would like Anna to introduce her character.
So Agnieszka is a Grendel. This is a type of creature that in this world is kind of like a hybrid between human and Fae ancestry. They kind of have sort of a goat-like lower half, similar to a centaur, or I guess like a satyr or something like that. Horns and this sort of like hair growing around different areas on their arms, legs, etc. She is dressed in the sort of style of one of the foot soldiers of the Winter Court, and she's carrying a very large drum sort of slung across her back.
Next to you is a figure And now, Julio, Julio, I'm sorry. I would like you to introduce your character.
So, Canario is portly and just physically imposing human male with the widow's peak and long black hair, mustached. His limbs seem longer, strangely long for a human being, but he seems that he is all out of proportions and hunched. And he just hums to himself.
As the two of you move through the crowd parts, staring primarily at the Grendel. Not a totally uncommon sight, but certainly potentially the first time some of them have ever seen one walking outside of the forest. As you move through, there is an middle-aged man, caramel skin, wearing a worn tabard with a dented but well-cared-for breastplate, sword on his hip, as he turns to the two of you and goes, "Are you the last two I'm waiting for security on all this?"
Security? Well, personally, I'm here to patch some people up.
That's what I heard. I heard I had a surgeon and a soldier coming. One last for the road.
I'll be the surgeon.
And the soldier, the security for the security.
He extends a hand to shake.
Canario grasps it with both hands.
Mm-hmm. Name's Werner. I've made this trip on the road a few times. I'm the head of the people that other people hide behind when shit comes out of the forest. So, this your first time on the road?
No.
I've lost count, honestly.
Both of you been on the Twilight Road before, then?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Spent plenty of time there.
Outstanding. Then you know all of the basics, right? Don't stare at the tree sprites. Don't follow any lights off the road.
Uh-huh, yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is all stuff that my mom told me when I was a fawn. I think I got it.
Excellent.
And you also
Good.
forgot, you also forgot don't ingest any strange fruits along the way. That's a good one.
Oh, I've definitely done that. It's a weird time. But I would not recommend it. I would not.
Werner stands there just kind of looking at the two of you, not quite sure what to make of you as he's... Right, so the last few trips, things have been getting a little odd, even for this trip, even for this road. Animals have been a bit more aggressive, so I'm going to want you, and he points at the Grendel, just going, I didn't catch your name.
Agnieszka.
Perimeter, not off the road, but as close to off the road as you can manage on one side. Eyes on the forest at all times. We've had a few on the way back down. We had some wolves come out of the forest, attack one of the draft horses, and I've never seen that happen before. Usually that sort of stuff leaves us alone. So I don't know what's going on, but I requested a little extra security, and he points at Canario and goes, and a surgeon, just in case, because the trip down was a little hairy.
It's important to carry a surgeon, of course.
Right. Well, I recommend you move around. You get to know some of the people that we're going to be traveling with, as they are going to be the ones you're protecting. It's best to know who all it is you're working with and who the other people you can count on are.
Understood.
Excellent. Let's be off then.
Werner moves off, seeming to move to another patch of individuals carrying weapons who appear to be part of the extra security detail. Is there anything the two of you would like to do before we move on to another character?
Werner did say that it was kind of weird that there were wolves that were attacking draft horses. I don't know how useful this will be at this moment, but I have a Grendel trait called Keen Senses, where I can automatically succeed at perception-based tests that rely on smell.
Ooh.
Can I just sort of smell the air and see if there's any sort of like strange scent of animals or like large groups of people moving around, anything weird.
Absolutely. So you auto succeed, correct?
Can I please smell things?
Yes.
Yes.
You auto succeed on this?
Yes.
So as you stand there,
Yeah.
probably about like 50 to 100 yards from the forest at this moment, a warmish wind seems to carry out of the forest. And it's a little unusually warm as you're currently in like the late part of autumn moving towards winter at this moment. And on that, you detect it's the smell of hound, but not quite wolf, but
Ooh.
and as you smell that, I want you to roll me a quick resolve test, just a standard resolve test.
All right. This should be fine, I'm sure, because my willpower is great. Oh, that's a success. 36 over 52.
All right. So you feel all of a sudden, as you smell it, there's suddenly like an influx of energy into your body as you smell this, and you feel a pull, the pull to go hunt, to go chase prey, but it passes very, very quickly.
She's just gonna turn it over to Canario and be like, seems like I'll be getting a better sleep in the woods tonight than I thought. I think this is gonna be a good trip.
One can only hope, but stay close just in case.
And with that,
Definitely
towards the back of the caravan, as the crowd is beginning to form, the merchants have sold their goods, the wagons are starting to line up. This is an organized caravan moving along the Twilight Road, carrying goods in the most direct route to the northern province. Normally, large groups tend to stick together on this. It tends to be much safer on this particular road. And one particular wagon, being pulled by a plodding draft horse, joins the line. And that is where I would like Faye, would you please describe your character?
Zia is an elven non-binary individual who has currently got short hair, but enjoys messing with disguises every so often. And they look pretty inconspicuous. Their clothing is like well worn. They've done this trip 1,000,001 times, and they just look almost too normal.
And where at this moment, Velvet, is your character?
I'm probably hanging around trying to be as inconspicuous as possible, and planning to board right as everyone is leaving. I don't want to give anyone the opportunity to notice me lingering in the wagon itself or too near the caravan, because this is a traveling caravan, and my character Maeve does not give off the appearance that Faye is suitable for this kind of travel. She's very tall, but it's that lanky, spindly tall. She's basically got like the physique of the other mother from Coraline. She looks like she might blow over if you like speak too loud near her. Fair, sorry.
Do you say anything to Zia as Zia's wagon is starting to set up for you?
I don't think I say anything, but I think I kind of, just kind of keep an eye out and try to make eye contact every now and then, just to, make sure everything is on the up and up. Maeve has darker skin. She's got that tendrily black hair that just always looks wet, doesn't matter how dry it is. She's got one yellow eye and one green eye.
Excellent. You see approaching Zia, a dwarf. Red hair going to white, very worn skin, the kind of look someone has when they've spent the vast majority of their life outdoors in hard weather. As Thorum marches up to Zia. Zia, you know Thorum because Thorum is the organizer of the caravan. He is the one who leads it through, organizes it, and of course, charges the fee for the merchants coming through. As he marches up and he says, "Right, Zia, it's good to see you again. Joining in?"
As always.
And he says, "Excellent." And he's like, "We pre-negotiated your fee and you're all paid up, so welcome in." And he turns around and looks at like a few of the other people and he goes, "Zia, you got anyone else with you? Just you?"
Oh, my cousin, Maeve.
All right. And he like kind of waves you over, like, come on. He goes, "I'm gonna go over this. This is the so right, name's Thorum." He's looking at Maeve and he's like, "I'm not your friend, I'm not your mom. It's my job to get this caravan from one end of the Twilight Road to the other. That means I'm gonna do my best to keep as many of you alive as possible. But if one of you's causing a problem, I will leave you on the side of the road. I have a few simple rules. Rule 1 is stay on the road. Rule 2 is stay on the fucking road. There's a fair number of nasty things that won't come onto the road, and we can solve a lot of problems if we just stay on the road. Rule 3," and he kind of looks around at a few other people who gather around, "no fighting. None. You understand me? We got enough problems without turning on ourselves, and spilling blood can draw some of the nastier things willing to come onto the road. So don't do it. Rule 4, don't put an axe to any living wood. If you need firewood, bring it with. We have a bit of a store, but you don't chop a single tree on this trout. Everyone understand me?"
Of course. Do we ever cause trouble?
You want me to answer that, Zia?
If you do, please lie to me at the very least.
Oh, well, in that case, you are an absolutely lovely companion and have never caused me an ounce of trouble.
Perfect.
All right. So, now, you'll be joining, he looks over. Why don't you move this towards the middle of the caravan? Probably a bit safer for you.
Thank you. And Zia would move their little, forgotten the name of the thing, wagon,
Yeah.
in the middle.
Now, is there anything you two would like to do before we move on to our final character introduction?
I think I'll just double check all my stuff and then kind of display my like little symbol of the priesthood of the Winter King, just so I don't look terribly shady. But I'll shuffle around, but it's almost kind of swinging a little like carved idol of the Winter King, almost like Bring Out Your Dead style.
You do see a few as you walk by make with their hands the sign of the hammer, which is the Winter King's symbol as they go by. You are in the region of the world that particularly reveres the Winter King, amongst others, but in this part of the world, he is the peak of the pantheon, as it were. And as you are moving through the crowd, there's one more figure cautiously picking her way through the crowd. Twelby, will you please introduce Bia?
Hi. So Twelby, or B for short, is a very short human. She's a very small, bookish looking girl. Short, dark hair, glasses, and she's wearing a green overcoat, very dark green, very practical, kind of prepping for winter clothing. And she's got this messenger bag around her that she keeps trying not to fiddle with, but is still very obviously fiddling with it, and she's got a nervous and also kind of angry look on her face just all the time.
As you're moving through, a voice calls out to you, an older voice, as you hear, "Are you lost, dear?"
And I turn to the voice and I go, "What? Me? No. No.
You see an older woman standing next to a cart that appears to be set up as some sort of traveling kitchen, as she appears to be a traveling food vendor that moves with the caravan. She just says, you don't look like you're one for this road.
I am one for any road that I choose to be on. Thank you very much.
Well, no, but by all means, don't let me tell you your business. You're more than welcome to travel with us. She says, are you hungry at all?
Maybe.
She says, come over here. Do you have any money?
Yes, I do.
She says, well, she looks you over. You seem like a nice young lady. Give me about a half a silver piece, and I'll keep you fed for a little bit.
And B reaches into the bag and tries to keep the cover down as low as she can, and reaches out and grabs the coins and hands it to her.
She takes one of, like, you give her are you giving her like a whole silver?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just looks at you, goes, well, this is only about a week. You swing by once a day, and I'll make sure you get a meal. As she slides you, and she takes a bowl over and gives you a bowl of soup, and just says, just please bring the bowl back. I only have so many of them.
Thank you.
She goes, well, because if you ever need anything, just feel free to swing by. And she says, try not to look so nervous.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not nervous. And then I turn around and I try to walk anywhere else.
So at this point, I think moving through, you might swing by close to, well, let's see. At this point, I believe we have two members of the caravan security who are trying to move around and get to know some of the people in the caravan. So I think at that point you turn around, and standing before you is a Grendel. And I don't know, have you seen a Grendel before?
I would have seen pictures in like textbooks, but probably not in person.
So what would you say to that Grendel in that moment?
I probably wouldn't say anything. I would just like keep my distance a little bit and kind of look over and try to not look obvious about looking at the Grendel, but also very studiously trying to be like, oh, so that's what they look like in real life.
I'm definitely doing the same thing, but the sort of like side-eyeing, but like you're trying to catch and make eye contact with the person, and then if we make it at the same time, I'm like, aha! No offense, but you don't really look like the kind of person that would be going for a long haul trip along the Twilight Road. What brings you out here?
I'm just running an errand.
Okay.
Well, this isn't something you quite run an errand on. This isn't a run for milk or anything.
No, not milk. It's an important job from the university.
University.
Ooh, the university. Fancy.
University. An academic. Oh.
And she's just gonna kind of like push her glasses up and like roll her eyes at you.
Agnieszka, could you imagine if I went to university in my profession?
If you had gone to university, I don't think I would still have my left arm, to be perfectly honest, because we would never have met. And then, you wouldn't have fixed it from being all like, whoa, that one time.
What do they even know about the humors and all that? Well,
I know plenty about the humors. Thank you very much.
Well, looks like it. My name is Canario.
Call me B.
B.
Nice to meet you. B. Agnieszka. I will do my very best to make sure that your ink pots and quills don't get jostled on the way up. I'm just messing with you. It's fine.
It's gonna get jostled.
It's definitely gonna get jostled.
I have to say, it doesn't sound like you know much about the humors. And your face doesn't really portray that.
You look up to see, poking over the top of the wagon that you were sitting by, Zia.
And I turn over and I say, I know much more than you would think.
Is that so?
And I just kind of like look at Kanari again, like, yeah.
Huh.
From what I've learned, people that know a lot don't need to shout about it.
Or maybe if you did a little bit less shouting, we wouldn't be talking about it.
At that moment, the shout goes up from ahead as you hear Thurum call out, "All right then, let's get this on the road. We're moving out. Please, everybody, eyes up and security, eyes on the forest." As the wagons begin to move out up the road into the wood, the road bends off very quickly into the forest. And to be quite honest, for the first half of the day, it's quite nice. The sky is visible overhead. The wood isn't too dense to either side. You occasionally see an animal between the trees, a deer or even a bear at one point. And as we begin our travel, I'm going to ask, on this first day of travel, and especially the first half of the day, when it's quite easygoing, let's start with Canario. How does he pass the time moving along?
He just keeps to himself. He stays close to Agnieszka when he can. But throughout his time, if he's not needed, he's just keeping to himself, reading and writing, just gently humming to himself.
Where does Meb stay during the travel? Out in the open or on the cart?
I think Maeve mostly stays in the cart, but Faye'll come out every now and then and just like BS some like Winter King blessings. Just like do enough to maintain that Faye is kind of supposed to be there.
I think every time you do that, Agnieszka would also just be like, yeah, and do like whatever the proper response is for the
It's
you know, like
the
call
metal
response
sign
for the Winter King. And it's like, all praise the Winter King, yeah, and just, you know, like excited about that.
As B hears these blessings, every once in a while she'll just like take out a notebook and like look up at you and like write down whatever you just said.
So after many, the Winter King protects as you move through. B, that's interesting that you point that out. As you're writing in your book, the when midday approaches, the trees start closing in a bit, and a cool wind blows out of the deeper forest. And when it hits you, it feels almost invigorating, and it feels like that first wind that hits you when you step outside when there's a fresh snow out, like a brisk but refreshing, as you feel something invigorating and like rejuvenating in the wind as it blows by. You having been trained, you detect just a hint of something arcane about it.
I'm just gonna breathe it in a little bit and kind of notice what it feels like and try not to let it affect me too much.
Ganesha. Oh, God. What do you do as it moves to midday? The trees are starting to get a bit closer to the road. The light is getting a little less reliable. And you notice the travelers are starting to pack in a bit more.
Mm-hmm. I think that like throughout most of the daytime travel, I've just kind of been, keeping like a beat going on the drum to like help keep everybody just moving along at a decent clip, all moving in tandem. As the sun starts to go down, though, puts the drum away, and I've got a mortuary sword on one side, but I've also got a fire-hardened spear. So I think that as everybody is starting to like gather in towards the center of the caravans and stuff like that, I've got the spear out, and I'm just kind of like making some sweeps like back and forth to either side of it behind the different wagons, working my way back up the line, just like making sure that everybody's doing okay. Nobody's like straggling behind or having any getting lost and wandering off to like pick flowers or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, just being a little bit more vigilant now.
And then finally, Zia, as the travel continues, and we are now reaching towards the end of the day, the trees are quite close to the road now and quite thick. How's Zia handling this?
Zia's pretty bored. They do this quite a lot, but they keep watching Trilby, and every so often they'll like try to distract B to make her trip. Just like
some of those times B probably does trip a little bit, like stumble over her feet and then like regain it and look around like, did anyone see that? And then keep going.
There's extra room on my cart, little one. You can join if you would like. Rest your legs. It would make writing a bit easier.
And I look Zia up and down, and I look at the wagon front to back and give it a good scan. And then I kind of look down at my own feet and realize that they really hurt because my shoes are not meant for very long walks. And I say, okay, thank you. And I'm gonna get on the wagon.
Zia would help you up.
And Zia, you see the very familiar sight as night begins to fall a bit. The road widens, and you see the remnants of old fire pits on the road as you reach what is approximately the end of one day of travel on the Twilight Road, where pretty much every caravan makes their first night's camp. The carts are pushed out towards the edges, and the people congregate towards the middle, and fires are begun to be made in the remnants of the old fire pits. And camp is being made. And as camp is being made and fires are being lit and darkness starts to fall, none of you can quite shake the feeling that you're being watched. It feels almost like the forest is silently observing you. And I need everyone to roll me our first group roll of this. It's going to be resolve. And whatever your target number is, I want you to add 10 to your target number. We're making a stress test. So if you fail, let me know.
Ooh, yep, sure failed that one.
I think
Do we
I
want
failed.
to roll?
By a resolve?
You roll resolve, and then you add whatever your target number is. So if your resolve is like a 43, you can add 10 to it. So then you're looking at a 53, and you want to roll under.
So we're looking at the
Oh.
willpower stat, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Will.
below
okay.
your stat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
We're adding 10 to like the top limit
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I passed. We're good.
All right. If you fail,
Math,
me
I'm
a-
good.
if you fail, roll me a d10.
Oh no.
Okay.
Add-
do this all the time.
7.
2.
So add 1, and then take a look at your peril threshold. Is the number you rolled bigger than your peril threshold?
Mm-hmm.
You move down 1 track on your peril threshold as so if Anna, you're the only one that actually took move down a tracker for this, it seems. So
Yes.
I'm going to say your particular connection, being a fae yourself, you detect there is something wrong right now. Magic swirls all around the fae. The fae are inherently magical creatures. They have a relationship and an understanding of magic inherent and intuitive, different from what B was learning and different how others wield magic. And you can sense that there is just something swirling in this forest right now, an energy that you can't quite touch, and it unsettles you to a very deep level.
I feel like in my mind I had decided as well, because of the Grendel thing, that the way that Agnieszka can tell that there is, like magic nearby is also via smell. So I think that the scent of the place is just kind of like a coppery tang, and it's just like this just isn't right. And it's just like university lady B, you know about magic and stuff, right? Are you getting like what I am? It's not just the trees, it's not just the animals, right? Like you can smell it on the wind too, right? Or I don't know, sense it.
And she kind of looks at you like really suspiciously, because she's not supposed to know about magic. Not supposed to sense magic. And so she kind of looks at you suspiciously and says, "Well, I don't know about feeling it, but from everything I've read, yes, this does seem to be odd at the very least."
Well, I don't love this, especially this time of year. My mother told me when I was little that around autumn one day I would see my death twice. So I think I'm gonna try and sleep with one eye open tonight.
I think I might be doing the same. And she just kind of like looks off, like toward the edge of the forest, just distantly gazing.
As you do that, noise is starting to gather, not bad noise, the noise of people congregating, as around the fires, the different people of the caravan are beginning to start their first night on the road. There appears to be music starting to be played. Some people are joining in song. Appears that by one of the fires, a card game is beginning. And it appears everyone is intent on making it, using the fire to push back the night and keep the forest at bay and just try to enjoy themselves a bit. And in that, what would, let's go with Mabe. What would Mabe be doing?
I think I'm still keeping up my cover of like being the caravan's priest type thing. I will note Maeve very specifically kind of avoids using the commonplace kind of depiction and description of the Winter King as like that bearded berserker type character, and sticks to kind of that more underrated like big dire wolf depiction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as the night is encroaching, I'll just like doodle little dire wolves in the ground with a stick. They're super shitty doodles, but like people who know what she's trying to do.
And what is Zia doing? Are you by Mabe, or are you joining in with some of the people?
Zia would probably be sitting in their cart, looking out into the woods and just like taking a minute to ponder before they would join Mabe at the fireplace, and just like absent-mindedly mutters, "Who do you think we could dare to run into the forest?"
Probably one of the newer traders.
What about that The university girl.
Bee's a lot of bark and no bite. I don't think she would run into the woods.
Do I overhear this?
Would you like to overhear this?
Kind
Do
of.
Delete.
Yes, I would
I
like to hear it.
think you could be wandering by at this moment, or just kind of hovering because there's some people that you actually know now. You've talked to them like once, so
So I walk by and I hear all bark and no bite comment, and I kind of look over with like a very like scrunched look on my face, and I begin to quote poetry, if I may. Hear the voice of the bard who past, present, and future sees, whose ears have heard the holy word that walked among the ancient trees. And then I pause for a second and wait to see if they recognize what I said. And then if they don't recognize it, I say, I totally would, but I'm not that stupid.
Not that stupid or not that brave? Two different things, my dear.
And I take a deep breath in. I don't need to be brave to know that it's a stupid idea to walk off the edge of the road. They clearly told us at the beginning, those are the first 2 rules. They have rules for a reason.
We have rules here? I've done this trip so many times I don't pay attention to them. It's more fun without them.
I don't know if it would be fun quite as much as life-threatening.
As long as it's not your life that's threatened, it's fine. Help us find someone to prank and you'll be fine.
There'll be plenty of lives threatened soon. And then I start to walk away, and I'm gonna go toward the lady with the food.
as you walk
Before B walks away, I'd like to kind of grab your wrist and just press like a little wolf carving into your hand. If you're scared of things that go bump in the night, the Winter King protects.
And I'm gonna take the carving and just kind of hold it and like look confused, but trying to not look confused. And then I just take it and I like put it in my bag and keep walking.
As you walk, you see an elf walking towards you, or actually like walking a bit alongside you, strumming on a dulcimer, femme presenting, but a little fluid and very beautiful. And they turn to you and say, that was some lovely Norscan poem that you've recited. It's a bit on the more well-known end, but it's still a quite lovely one.
And I'm gonna look at her, and because she's talking to me, my face is gonna flush totally red, and I look at her, and then I look at the instrument, and I say, "You're playing it wrong," and then I like run away.
As you run off, calls after you, "Name's Farron. I'll be over by the fire if you want to sit and show me how to play."
And then I just like toss a little wave over my shoulder and just keep like running.
Where is Canario during all of this?
Canario is leaning up against a wagon as he's watching all the young lovers and just the people mingling. He's just watching and awkwardly like clapping along to the music off beat. But he doesn't really interact with anyone. He just somberly stands there.
And where is oh god, I'm gonna stumble over this name.
Agnieszka.
So many Agnieszka.
Agnieszka.
There we go.
I think Agnieszka is very much a carouser. That's kind of the way that the Grendel work, is they spend a really long day working and then a really long night drinking before they fall asleep. And so she's just having a lot of fun, just being like, oh, and yeah, while Zia and B are having their interaction, basically just like being the peanut gallery on both sides. also keeping an eye out, just, on the edge of the area that's illuminated by your campfire, just to make sure. Just to make sure.
As you're moving about, the card game over in one side is getting rather loud, as it appears there's one card player who's had quite a bit to drink. And you hear a cheer go up as somebody wins and starts raking a pot over. And you see the drunk fellow just being like, looking down and looking at the money. He says, all right, one more hand. One more hand. You can't be that lucky. And they begin dealing. Do you move over or do you walk on by?
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely. If it looks like people are about to start fighting while they're drinking, I'm definitely there for that because I have also been drinking and am therefore just like, ooh, are we gonna fight now? Is it gonna be great? Are we gonna punch things? Yes.
So, as they deal out, why don't you roll me an awareness test? It's a standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Just see.
Yeah. Awareness. Nice. It's a success, a 20.
20. You notice the dealer, the person who just won, at one point slip an extra card into their hand as they begin to deal.
Oh.
And they deal out. And the hand plays through. And the dealer wins again. And the drunk man stands up and says, "You're a cheating son of a bitch." And his hand flashes up, and it seems like he punches him in the chest. But in the last second, you see the glint of light come off something metal. And the dealer looks down, almost confused, as you see blood start to spread. And he sinks down and drops.
I guess this is my cue.
And
Canario, can we get a surgeon over here, please?
Oh.
who was Zia, you were the one sitting staring off into the edge of the forest, right?
Yeah.
You suddenly see shapes beginning to move.
Great. Zio's gonna look up to see like what security are about and like what people that they know would be handy if shit goes south.
Well, luckily for you, there's a Grendel that's really easy to find at all times. Because I believe, in addition to having horns, you're carrying a pole arm, aren't you?
I'm carrying, so I'm very big, muscly, and hairy, and I'm constantly carrying a drum, a mortuary sword, and a fire-hardened spear.
So easy to find.
Basically just like, yes, very obvious. You can find me wherever you need to, pretty much.
Zia's gonna pull out their pistol and start loading it and shout, Agnieszka, think we're gonna have some friends coming to say hi.
I'm gonna look at the guy that just stabbed the dealer and be like, you might want to hold on to that pointy stick of yours and use it for something better than a petty argument, and then just go over to where Zia is.
As you begin to move, a shape bursts out of the woods, screaming at the top of its lungs. It's about 3/4 the height of a normal human. You see a long crooked nose, long ears, slightly green skin, wearing armor, carrying a spear as a goblinkin summoned by the blood of a murdered person comes running right at you and attempts to stab you. So first roll, I rolled a 97. So this, you were able to easily pivot out of the way, and I'm going to need you to roll. I'm going to need everyone here to roll initiative as Goblinkin begin bursting from both sides of the road out into the caravan.
Can you remind me what Check
So you
this
roll a
one.
d10 and then you add your initiative, and then just go ahead and throw it in chat, and we'll add it all together. We'll see, and I'll throw the order in chat. As absolute mayhem erupts, you are all fairly close to each other in this moment. So you have one of these. You have one of these creatures directly in front of Agnieszka. And then there appears to be another one coming out on the other side of the road over by where Zia was. And so currently you have two to deal with in your immediate area as the entire caravan appears to be under attack. And it's so add the initiative INT. It's on your second page of your character sheet.
That's of course the page that I didn't take a photo of.
Ah, that's all right.
I never got filled in.
We'll just say it's a. We'll just say it's a flat.
D10 plus 3 plus perception.
Yeah. Let's just
So
let's just say it's a flat 7 for the moment, and we'll fill it in later. So add 7 to whatever you rolled. So you rolled. So first up is going to be Canario, and then we'll go Mabe, and then we'll go to and we'll move from there.
I imagine at this point, Canario has declared the man dead.
Mhm.
So he's just huddled over. He hears trouble, and he has his knapsack on him with all of his tools. One of those tools just happens to be a maul used for splitting bones and whatnot. So he quickly grabs that in both hands as he looks at the goblinkins.
Real quick, I'm gonna let you go, and then Zia gets to go because Zia is a smuggler, and Hans always shoots first. So, Canario, sorry, you're going to run me by that again because I was coming to that realization when you said the last thing you said.
Oh yeah, he has his splitting maul in hand as he's kind of watching the Goblinkin. How many does he see?
Currently, there's 2 in your immediate area. You can either move to the one next to Agnieszka or the one over by Z.
He will move to the one towards Agnieszka.
Okay.
They've been traveling together for a while, so he tries to take care of them, even though it's them who takes care of him.
All right, so go ahead and roll me an attack. So roll with your what weapon are you using again?
Splitting maul.
Splitting maul. Let me.
So that is a simple melee, two-handed.
Perfect. So roll me a simple melee test. This is a standard test, so you don't need to worry about changing that at all.
Gotcha. And one skill rank is a +10.
Yep.
65, which is under. It's over 50. So.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So you miss?
Oh yes.
All right. So as you swing down, this creature just sidesteps your blow, appearing to set their feet for another attack. But before we move to anyone else, Zia, apologies. Smugglers get to go first at every combat, essentially. So what does Zia do as you see a goblin coming out of the woods right by your cart?
Zia's gonna stand up, take a deep breath. She's like, "This is why we don't stab each other." And then they're gonna shoot the goblin.
All right, so go ahead, and you're shooting your pistol, right?
Yeah.
So martial melee, and
Not be ranged.
Martial range. Sorry, yeah, martial ranged.
That doesn't change anything. Are double zeros good or bad?
Oh no, that would be a all zeros is a 100, which is a critical fail. But
005.
Oh, 005. That's a 5. That is excellent.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yes. So that is an excellent roll. So go ahead and roll me damage. Roll a d6 and tell me what your result is.
2 seconds. I don't have a d6.
Oh, it's fine.
I don't know where my d6 is. I thought it was there.
as we're moving, just as a quick point, as Zia is resolving that, Mabe, you are going to be up next. So let us start thinking about what you would like to do with that. Yeah, and all right, roll me that d6. Tell me the result.
Sorry, I don't have
Oh.
currently have a.
I'll roll a d6 for you.
Perfect.
All right. So you got a 4. What is your combat bonus? The CV next to your combat percentage.
Is it the big letter? The big number?
Yes.
5.
5. So you do 9 damage to this guy, which is going to reduce him as you fire. You take a chunk of armor off of his shoulder, and you see black blood start to run down as he snarls at you, speaking in the Fey language. I don't know. Do you speak? I don't think we have languages down, so we'll say you don't understand what he's saying, but it sounds quite nasty.
I would probably know.
And it is now Mabe's turn.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go for it.
I have to add another 1d6 fury die because of Fey treachery.
Oh, very nice. So, you rolled another 4, which is going to bump that from a 9 to a 13. So, a lot more blood, as it seems to be not injured, but quite hurt. As that it did not appreciate that at all. And Mabe, it is your turn.
I think I was nearby the scene because Maeve would like to learn how to play cards, but it would be unseemly in her first station to learn. So she just kind of watches. I think if Canario did indeed pronounce the guy dead, I think as the light was fading, she was just kind of creepily off to the side and did like the thumbs down gladiator as the light faded, because the Winter King demands that you get good or get gone. So if you get God, that's on you. And then I would like to pull out my hunting bow and take a pot shot at the Gabo that Z shot at.
All right, go ahead. And the hunting bow should be simple ranged, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
All right, just go ahead and roll me a simple range test.
That's a D100, right?
Yep.
Sorry, I'm trying to find a dice roller because I don't have a D100. If anyone has one handy.
I have one handy. What's your target number?
That's a simple ranged, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's combat. Yeah,
Yeah.
Simple ranged. I have a 36 in combat.
36, and then are you trained in simple ranged?
I should be.
You have a dot? Okay, so then we're looking
I'm not actually.
Okay, so 36. You were 43, so just barely. As you pull and fire, the arrow goes wide and buries into a tree just behind it as it turns and goes, huh? And like continues to snarl and is trying to make its arm work as it's moving towards Zia. So you loaded and fired. Would you like to move anywhere?
I'll stick close to behind Canario.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it is going to be the goblin's turn. The first one is going to attempt to knock over Agnieszka. So Agnieszka, can you please roll me an athletics test? It's smaller than you, so I'm going to say this thing is just trying to like bowl into you and knock you down. So go ahead and roll me a athletics test with plus 20.
Okay, so that means that the number to beat is a 69.
Nice.
And I got an 85. I'm gonna use a fortune token to reroll that.
For reference, we have as many fortune tokens as we have players. The players can use them to re-roll failed tests, but once you use it, it goes to me, and then I get to re-roll failed tests. Yay! You made it?
I did, yes.
So it knocks into you, and as you don't fall, it's going to try to stab you with its spear.
Okay.
So it is Oh, it is just going to miss with a 57. I am going to use that reroll you just gave it.
Okay. Am I able to parry yet?
You would be, but
did you crit?
I rolled a 1.
Oh no!
So
This is great.
So you are going to get ooh, you ready for this?
Probably not.
7 points of damage. How does that do for your
That actually just meets the first one. It doesn't beat it though.
Yeah, it doesn't beat it. So what's our armor are you wearing?
I am wearing a suit of leather armor and carrying a wooden shield.
Oh, so then as it stabs at you, you try to parry it and it slips under and you just twist your body in a well-practiced motion, and the tip of the spear contacts your leather armor, and as you turn, it just slides past and doesn't actually hurt you. So the other one is going to use it's going to use 2 of its movements to try to climb up the wagon as it's a little hampered, and it's going to make a stab at Zia, but I'm going to say as it's climbing, it's going to be a little bit harder. So I'm going to go for a 45 on this one as it's trying to like thrust at you while trying to climb up your wagon. Ooh, I set it to a 45 and I rolled a 46. This is what I get for being a nice, I guess. All right, so that is the 2 goblins, and it is now B's turn. B, you have 2 horrible creatures, embodiments of violent death that you have only ever read about that have burst out of the forest. What do you do?
2. Why do I have 2?
There's one by Agnieszka, and there's one climbing on the wagon that you were riding on with Zia.
Oh. Right, 2 total. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were just both coming after me. I am going to pull out the stiletto knife that I have, and I am going to. Well, how close are they to me? Like, are they directly coming at me?
No, they're both seem occupied. I would say that you could do 1 move action to get to either one of them, so that would give you the chance to stab them also.
Okay. I take back what I said. I'm not going to pull out the knife. I'm not going to pull out that knife. I'm going to pull out one of my throwing knives.
Ooh.
And I'm going to try to aim it and hit the one that's climbing onto the cart in the head.
All right, so you are going to take an aim. So go ahead and roll me a simple ranged and add 10 to whatever your number is because you aimed.
Add 10 to the top.
Yeah, so you add, if you're trained in it, you add 10 and then you add another 10 for aiming. Uh-oh, what'd you roll?
An 88.
An 88. That would be a critical fail. Yeah, so in like the comedy beat moment, because you go to throw it, and as you bring your arm back, the blade's been cold, and there's a little bit of condensation in the air at the moment, and it just slips out and falls behind you. Bia, that would be if you didn't move, you would have the move now if you wanted to, because it would be 1 action point to try to attack, 1 action point to try to aim. You could try to move if you wanted to try to get away or get close to one of them.
So there's one that's on the ground still, right?
Yes.
Okay, I am going to use my moving action, and this is where my dauntless comes in. So I'm going to forget the knife. I'm just going to leave it back there for now. I'm going to run up to the one on the ground and try to jump on its back and like wrap my arms around its neck.
Ooh. All right. That would technically cost you an extra action point, but we'll spend another fortune point and we'll give you that extra action point. So go ahead and roll me an athletics check. I believe that's.
I rolled a 4.
Ooh, you rolled a 4?
Yeah.
So you're trying to knock this thing to the ground. You jump on it and it drops to 2 knees as it looks behind it and is just like, what? As it is now Agnieszka's turn, and this is now considered to be prone before you.
Good deal. I have a quick question. Can I know I said that Agnieszka was drinking. Can I be considered to be intoxicated at this point?
I mean, were you drinking to get drunk?
That was the idea?
Yeah, then yes, absolutely.
Yes. She is very nearly always drinking to get drunk, because when I am an angry drunk, I get +10 to intimidate while I'm drunk. So just basically gonna like turn around from the guy that, you know, stabbed somebody through the chest with a pocket knife or whatever, and just like, oh, really? Are we doing this? And I would like to unleash a litany of hatred upon these two goblins and just basically like scream at them in the same thing that they said. I can't see my death twice if I end up wrapping you around the side of that tree. And I would like to intimidate them.
Roll me an intimidation test.
Let's see. Which is +10 because I'm an Angie. 39.
Angie,
Oh god, it's a critical
Agnieszka.
fail again.
Oh no.
Rolled an 88.
So you speak the same language as
So
them?
that failed.
The one in front of you
Mhm.
chuckles and responds in the language that you can understand, and it says,
Cool.
Grendel, not in the service of the newcomer. We shall make your head a gift to him, or to her.
Is that the one that was lying on the ground prone? That's
Yeah, that's the one that's like currently Bee's on the back of and like trying to like, you know, it's on the ground, it's in front of you. Bee's like on its back.
Okay, sweet. I would like to try and let me see. It's prone
You do extra damage. if you hit.
and yeah, we're gonna call that a called shot with the mortuary sword so that it couldn't dodge or parry.
Perfect. I'm gonna give you a +10 on this because of it
Perfect.
being on the ground. So
Oh, okay. So that was a 15.
go ahead and roll 2d6 because it is prone.
Okay. Let's see. That's 7 plus 4, 11 damage.
11 damage. Let me roll a quick check. I rolled a 6, so at this
Nope,
point,
sorry, 12. 12. I added the wrong thing. Yeah.
So you drop it 2 levels, and I just rolled a 6 for it. So describe what your sword does to it as you kill it.
Okay, cool. This is a vicious sword, so I think what I end up doing is basically just like cleaving it in half twice.
Mhm.
Because it'll just be like, we'll chop you in half, and then your top half does not have time to fall off the bottom half before you get chopped in half again, crosswise, and now you're really dead.
That's so anime.
So yeah.
B, you go from holding this struggling goblin to suddenly being covered in black blood and ichor, holding what is left of this, looking up at Agnieszka.
I'm just gonna like back away and like like there's blood all over me and I go, ah, my coat.
We are now moving back to the top of the order with Canario.
There's still one goblin.
There's one goblin injured climbing up, that has climbed up the wagon to fight with Zia.
Oh, Canario's going to take a swing at him.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to use his splitting maul to try to split this thing in half.
All right, go here. Roll that attack. As you move up, you like climb up on this and you take a swing.
34, which is under.
All right, roll damage.
So that's just
roll a
1d6?
Roll a d6 and add your, I think your combat bonus. Let's go with your combat bonus right now, and I will double check.
That is 8.
8 total?
Mhm.
All right. So you smash this into its back, and it arches up, and it is continuing to fight, but it is looking rather beaten down at the moment. It is now. I'm going to say that moving up there and making your attack was probably all of your AP at that point.
Yes. Mhm.
Because you had to climb up. So it is going to be, as I scroll back up to find the, it is going to be Maeve's turn and then Zia's turn. So Maeve.
I think the combat is well in hand, but if possible, I think I'd like to try to use, take advantage of the chaos to use Witch Sight, see what else is bumping around in the dark.
Ooh, roll me an incantation test.
Is that just another D100?
Yes, that's D100, and incantation should be in your. Let me really quickly check. It's in. Where are skills?
Do.
Incantation is willpower. Yep.
The willpower. Oh, thankfully, I did not make it. I think my willpower is a 43. I haven't done an incantation, but I rolled a 78.
As you attempt to focus and you try to pull in the various senses that are witch sight to detect the swirling individual winds of magic, the chaos around you it overwhelms your senses, and you can't quite pick out the individual indicators that are your personal signs that certain winds of magic are active. That is one test thing. You could move, or you could try to like trip up the goblin fighting Zia or anything like that. Or if you wanted to just check around for something, because you said you were kind of like scoping things out.
Yeah, I'll try to trip up the goblin. How would I go about that?
Roll me an athletics check.
Athletics. That is an 18.
18. So you, after trying to accomplish this, you take your bow and you just like stick it in between the goblin's legs and then like turn it as it drops to one knee, looking over at you, just kind of like a hateful look, like, "Argh!" And it is going to be Zia's turn as this goblin is now down and distracted ahead of you. You can, if you want to make a melee attack on this, I'll let you add 10 to your target. You are muted at the moment.
Every dang time. Zia would pull out their stiletto to stab the goblin in the neck.
All right.
Yeah, that's a 35.
35. Roll damage.
Would you be able to roll the d6 for me?
Yep. Oh yes, of course. What's your combat bonus?
5.
Rolled a 6, which means we roll again and add. So that's 10 plus 5. All right. So how do you end this thing?
Zia's gonna stab the stiletto like straight through the neck and coming out the other side, and then as they stand up, they're pulling the stiletto out and going to the person that started all this, and like walking over, holding like their bloody stiletto, like, now, do you see why we don't kill each other?
What the fuck was that? What the fuck just happened? Why?
You killed someone.
What the? As of behind this person, a very angry dwarf is now stalking. As the fighting seems to be dying down, I'm going to say that, Bia, you being where you are, you hear one last angry cry, and you see behind you one of these injured goblins almost running at you. Like just absolute bloodlust in its eyes. And as it comes towards you, something swings into vision and the side of a dulcimer cracks into its head. And you see the elf standing there, and they just look at you and go, "You did well on that one. You're a little bit of, you know what? Never mind. It looks good on you."
And B is just she's gonna like wipe some of the blood off of her face and like kind of flick it to the ground and say thanks. And then she's gonna turn around and go up to the person who did the initial stabbing and say, "Hey, this is why we follow the rules, asshole."
Standing next to Zia as Thorum walks up and just looks at the two of you and goes, "What the fuck happened?"
Zia holds her hand up. It wasn't me this time. It was him. It wasn't me.
Turns to him and says, "And who the fuck are you?" And as he just goes, "The name's Ludo." And he turns and looks for the nearest security person, which would be Agnieszka. Says, "What happened?"
See that guy with a hole in his chest over there?
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Tie this
Figure
asshole
it's
up.
cheating at cards, and then, yep.
Tie this asshole up. We'll deal with him in the morning. I don't want to have to deal with this tonight any more than we already have. And he stalks off. All right. And with that, we have concluded our first combat. And
Canario does a quick survey as like he stands over all the chaos. He's like, "Is everyone all right? Great. All right. Let's drink."
there's a call that says like, actually, Werner comes over and says, we probably could use some of your help over here.
God. All right. What'll it be?
We've got just some simple injuries. Cuts, not too bad, but probably need seeing to. As he leads you, and you find a few of the individual guards. They're of a very mixed sort. These are maybe casts off from free companies who, worked tours with individual mercenary companies, as the Empire is very good business for individual mercenary companies, and hired haphazard set of gear, haphazard set of people, all ages, all ancestries. And there's one in particular, appears to be gnomish, who has part gnomish at least, and has a very serious cut down the side of their face and appears to be bleeding quite badly. They appear to be on the verge of like somewhere between panic and going into shock as you come up.
All right. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Try your best.
What the hell were those?
Those were goblinkins. And they're gone, so it's nothing to worry about now. I've got you. Just look me right here.
I can't see. There's too much. They're just like kind of trying to like wipe the blood out of their eyes.
He uses his just one hand is just like a baseball mitt type hand, just like cleans his eyes for him. As it's like, son, you're gonna be fine.
Thank you.
There's no need to panic. Let's see. What are your? Let's see where your injuries are here.
It appears to be a rather superficial but heavily bleeding cut on the forehead that dips down into the nose. Seems like a blunt instrument probably caused this. Probably like the haft of a spear catching him in the face.
My lord, you seem to have taken quite a blow there. Seems like you fought valiantly. What happened to the goblin?
I don't know. I got hit and I was knocked down, and then I heard some shouting, and they're gone now. They're gone. And Werner just kind of stumps and was like, "It's all right. We got him. You're fine. You're fine. You're gonna." And he just kind of puts his hands like, "You're gonna have a scar and a story, and you're gonna be fine." It's
gonna be a beautiful one. And Canario, as he says that, he kind of rolls up his arms, and there's just like a series of scars from all of the past wars and whatnot that he's worked through. Scars tell stories, and what fun is it to sit around the fire and tell a wonderful story with friends.
Only a heal check.
Yes. I also have pliers, scalpel, bone saw. It's gonna be a 36. My heal is 65.
Oh, this is phenomenal work. It's going to be a very small, narrow, and a very fashionable scar. He's going to look quite the warrior when you're done with this.
The ladies are going to love this.
The wound also appears to be clean, so you're not expecting any sort of follow-up infection or anything like that.
Well, just make sure not to put too much pressure on it. Let it have time to heal, and it's gonna attract some people. You've done a great job. Just make sure you get some rest, and try to keep dirt away from your face for the most part.
Thank you. And he just turns to us. That was my first fight. Holy shit! I think I need a drink.
Champ, first round's on me.
So, what do the rest of you do with the remaining of your night as Canario goes and treats the wounded? What does Maeve do?
So as people are, making sure folks are still standing and dealing with, the nefarious ne'er-do-well that caused this incident, I'm assuming nobody's paying particular attention to the dead man's gold.
No, they're not.
I would like to pass by that area and then begin informing everybody that some of the goblins that escaped took the gold, which is so odd.
Wow.
I'd like to spread that rumor.
Roll me 2d6.
Fortunately, I have a d6. That was a 2 and then a 5.
You find 7 gold comets, the currency of the southern part of the empire, quite valuable. Appears that he won them potentially cheating at cards.
And I think if we have, a particularly attentive cinematographer for this scene, as Maeve's spindly fingers kind of gather up the coins, you notice that Faye has kind of those little gold rings that are in segments.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Relating to Fair Doom.
Oh, I like that.
At some point, someone told Faye that gold was stronger than iron, and Faye really took that to heart. So, that the goblins took the gold. Well, just to let everyone know. Did anyone notice those goblins walked away with the gold? They don't normally do that.
And you see one of the guards, and it's Werner, and his order's like, no, they're usually just here for the bodies. That's he says, oh, I suppose that's not the strangest thing that's happened on the road the last few months, so oh well. As he gives you a very knowing look, but just kind of shrugs and then walks off.
I'll walk away with the, winter can keep you, but Maeve does this thing where, she makes very strong eye contact when Faye speaks to people, but Faye doesn't blink, so it's just always a very creepy experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, B, Zia, and Agnieszka were all together when Ludo was declared to be tied up. Now, Agnieszka, you tied up Ludo and took him to a cart. What do B and Zia do as they're left standing there as this individual is dragged off?
I'm gonna very almost frantically check my bag and make sure that everything that's supposed to be in it is still in it.
1 second, gonna roll something.
Oh no.
Nope, we're good. So please
Okay.
continue.
And then I'm gonna walk over to Maeve and do I need to roll to check whether or not I saw if they took the gold?
I'll say I'll let Velvet the player make that call. Would you be okay? Would you prefer a roll or would you prefer be just no?
Oh, I'm down with B just knowing.
Okay, so you can just know.
So I'm gonna walk up to Maeve and look directly at Faye and say, I remember you. And then pause very briefly and say, I know you took the gold. Another very brief pause. And then, did he have any books on him?
You mean the goblins took the gold? But no, I didn't find any books on him. You're welcome to search through his things. I don't think he'd mind.
Cover me?
I don't know what you're talking about. I will perform last rites, however, per custom. And if you'd like to locate any items of the deceased to help in the passing, well, that'd be lovely.
Great. And then I'm gonna look to see what other books or potentially other items potentially magical nature, potentially weapons on the body.
You find a knife, fairly standard fare. It would count in our system as a shiv, but it's essentially just a bit of a utility knife. Could be used in a fight. Also, could be used to just eat your dinner with. You find several playing cards hidden around on his person in different spots. It appears money is taken. Other than that, this appears to just be something of a traveler who moves between towns, potentially running up card games until the town no longer is quite welcoming anymore, and then moves on to the next one.
Okay, I'm just gonna take the knife and I'm gonna kind of disgustedly like leave the playing cards.
And yeah, you've already resolved the thing with the gold, so that I'm gonna say actually go ahead for B, roll me a folklore test. Having learned about all things, or having studied. Or actually, do you have better folklore or education? Because I think education would make more sense.
They're the same.
Okay.
So each dot adds 10
Yep.
onto the threshold.
Yep.
So I get to add 30, which means my threshold is 74.
Okay, go ahead and roll that.
Rolled a 6.
All right, so you did, let's say, a fair amount of research before you set out on this journey. So you are aware of the presence of the Fae in the Twilight Wood. You know specifically that it is Winter Court, and that the Winter Court tends to be a bit more violent and a bit more predatory than the Summer Court. The Summer Court can be plenty violent of their own, but they tend to be a little more temperamental, whereas Winter is more of the cold killers. Goblins in particular are Fae creatures, and they are the embodiments of violent death. And the number of goblins that seem to explode for one murder seems a bit odd, because they would have taken the body off, and in taking the body of a murder victim, they would have been able to summon more goblins to this place. But that many, the entire caravan came under attack. That was strange.
So does that potentially mean that there was already a body in the woods?
Sorry, my headphone fell out. Could you say that again?
Does that potentially mean that there was already a body in the woods?
Well, as goblins are fake creatures, they persist for quite a long time, and they are drawn to particularly violent places. So once a goblin has entered this world, they tend to stay in it until dispatched, or until usually till they're just dispatched. So goblins can be running around all sorts of horrible places in the world from potentially hundreds of years ago. Now, is there anyone who'd like to do anything else before falling to sleep for this night?
Sia would clean off their stiletto and then go to the goblins' bodies, see if they have anything useful on them.
Well, they have a bit of armor on them. It's on the smaller end, and it smells something awful. It smells like death, as they are constantly around it. You being a constant traveler of the road, you know that when goblins are unable to find others to prey on, they often turn on each other for just purely entertainment purposes. And you do find a few blades that are of decent make. They would be on the let's say somewhere in the area. Hold on, let me pull up a thing. Probably like maybe one blade that would qualify as basically a rapier in your hands, stat wise.
Okay. And then they would pick up. This is going to sound weird. Is goblin blood poisonous?
It's not. It's it doesn't have any I don't know. I would say I don't know if any of you would know if it would have inherently magical properties. It is fey and therefore magical in origin. It just doesn't
What if
do
we
anything
know
special.
alchemy? Would we know?
I'm going to say. So for alchemy, roll me a. There's an alchemy skill. Roll me an alchemy test.
That's a 21. I'm assuming that's okay.
I'm-
What is my alchemy at? Yeah, that's well below my threshold.
Okay, then I'm going to say that goblin blood does have some uses in alchemy if you want to gather some, and we will determine what those exact uses are in between sessions. So roll me a. Let's go ahead and roll me. You have a D6, right?
Who? Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roll me the D6 and divide the result by 2.
That is a 1.
So you get 1 vial of goblin blood out of this. Just usable, that isn't like all mixed up with dirt or like that is alchemy quality. That good alchemy quality blood, you know.
That good shit.
Yeah,
we say in the
good.
biz.
Yeah, not you don't want to cut it with like, dirt. I mean, like that's just now. Anyone else like do anything before they go? Zia, did you have anything else? I apologize.
The only other thing that Zia would do would be throwing the bodies back towards the forest. Just
Mhm.
being like, out of camp, out of mind, not dealing with that shit tonight.
So, this is gonna maybe seem creepy, but Canario is gonna take one of those goblin bodies and start studying it, because they are fey, and he's got plenty of people who are fey under his watch. So I'm sure he's had a chance to learn about the fey humors or whatnot. But hey, there's always more practice.
Roll me a scrutinize check as you essentially perform an autopsy on a goblin.
Scrutinize is under
Perception.
perception.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Looking for something under 53. 42, baby.
All right, go ahead and mark down on your character sheet that you have knowledge of goblin anatomy now.
Yeah.
And we'll use that whenever you're dealing with goblins in like any sort of physical sense. You'll have some sort of you'll gain some sort of benefit now.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
Ooh, that was kind of creepy, but I'm glad that worked out in the long run.
I just want everyone to know I am continuing a proud tradition of all my characters collecting body parts in some capacity.
Yeah, well.
All right.
If nobody else has anything, so before going to sleep, B is going to look around and look and make sure that it kind of looks like everybody else is asleep or not paying attention, and kind of go off to the side somewhere, maybe close to the edge of the woods,
Mhm.
and try to practice candlelight a few times,
Ooh. All right.
secretively.
Roll me an incantation test.
Nope, that was a 98.
A 98. As you attempt to gather the magic, and casting magic in this world involves the swirling energies of magic that pass through the world, carry with them just inherent aspects. This is why wizards specialize in one particular wind, and to cast magic, you channel that power into a spell. And as you begin to attempt to cast this very basic spell that you learned in school, there is a sudden surge, and you feel that cool winter snow wind again hit you. And as you attempt to cast candlelight, something odd happens, and just around you, flowers and other plants just seem to burst out of the ground, fully as if it is the middle of a spring day. open and colorful and beautiful as you are suddenly surrounded in your own private little meadow.
I'm very surprised that this has happened. I'm gonna look at all of them, and I'm gonna pick one of the flowers and look at it.
It is an absolutely gorgeous. My flower recall is not as good. I want to say poppy, but like I'm not going. Yeah, let's go with a poppy. It's a poppy.
Okay. Do I notice anything like weird about it? Like, does it look like a normal flower, or is there something like strange?
You've heard of something like this before, the ability to summon forth just spring's bounty from the ground, but you've never seen anyone perform it before. You're not sure how that happened.
So after a moment or two of kind of appreciating, like, wow, I did a cool thing, I quickly remember, oh shit, I'm not supposed to do this. And then I try to like smother all the flowers and like kind of like with my hands, like press down on them and like rip them out and like try to toss them out of sight.
As you're doing that, a bit of motion off in the woods catches your attention, and you see off in the distance, moving between trees, just a light. It flickers and it dances. And as you look at it, I need you to roll me a resolve test.
Okay, and resolve is...
Resolve is in your willpower. And I'm going to say at this point, after this night, I'm going to say it's a standard test.
Okay.
So don't add, it's just whatever the number is plus your skill if you're trained in it.
31 under 42. So
you take one, I should say, as you look at it and it's moving between the trees and you see that flickering light, you are almost like entranced trying to like make it out. And then as you kind of snap back to your senses, you realize you had taken about 2 steps towards the edge of the road while looking at it. And the warning coming back to you of don't follow the lights comes back.
I'm going to pause and I'm going to stare at it for a few more seconds. And then I'm going to turn around and go find my place to sleep.
The night is restful would be a generous word. If you are somewhere on your peril tracker, you do not move up, as this is not a particularly safe campsite.
Except for me, because I have nerves of steel.
You do, so you do move up. So excellent. Nobody took any damage, moved down their damage tracker, if I'm remembering correctly. So you're all still uninjured. As the next day begins, as light begins to poke through the trees, just barely getting through, as you see the shafts of sunlight coming down in almost crisscrosses, as the branches overhead are almost making a complete canopy at the moment. The calls go out and the caravan sets off, and very quickly the sky is no longer visible on the second day of travel. The trees are almost oppressively close to the edge of the road. They are getting larger. The view out the side of the road is getting more obscured. And as you move through, at times, you can almost swear that some of the knots in the tree bark turn to follow you like eyes. And with it being autumn, the leaves are drying if they're not already on the ground. And as the wind blows through these dry branches and leaves, it rattles and hisses almost like laughter as you're all moving. And I'm going to say, who's on the edge looking out into the forest amongst you? So then all of you would notice about a few hours into it, a freshly killed elk, about 10 yards off the road, just barely visible, badly mauled by some sort of animal, but left, not devoured at all. almost as if something assaulted it with claws and teeth and then left it there.
Could I use my smelling ability to try and smell what it was that killed this thing, but mysteriously didn't eat its corpse?
So, yes, I'm going to say... So
I'd
you
like to do a smell autopsy, please.
So you smell...
Yes.
It smells distinctly of wolves.
Huh.
And as you do so, that warm wind blows through the forest strong this time, and you feel that surge of aggression of hunt, kill, feast. And as the wind passes, the feeling passes, but it was quite strong from in that moment where it was overtaking you. What do you do?
I think it's almost like without thinking, very similar to, you know, when they're getting ready to lead a charge or something like that in one of the many, many fights on campaign that Agnieszka has been involved in. The Grendel will just sort of like bend down at the waist and get ready to like headbutt something basically as they're running. Like if you've ever seen the way that goats in real life will fight and they just like hit each other with their horns. That overwhelming like desire to hunt for something just almost makes her just inadvertently get over into that posture. Like it is time to just plow through a line of other like Fey soldiers or something like that. And then before just looking like, whoa, shaking off, like, what am I doing here? This is ridiculous.
You've seen this look before. What do you say as you see this moment as if charging into battle?
You're muted.
Anna, you're muted.
No, I was trying not to laugh. Apologies.
our first green room chat break.
Yep. I apologize. What was the question?
Carnario, what was the question?
Oh no, I said you're muted. That's all. No.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you would ask me a question and I just didn't. Yeah, no.
Oh, me question.
And it occurs to me that we probably, after that combat ended, probably should have taken our mid-game break, as that would have been probably the ideal time to do it. But as you begin to travel and it moves towards midday, we're going to take our quick 5-minute break before we get to the last half of our session here. So we will be right back as we allow our cast to take a quick bio and refill on tea. And we will be all right back after the break. Thank you all. Welcome back. We are on the Twilight Road on the second day of travel as our party was attacked by, goblins, the very embodiment of violent death in this world, fey creatures. They have slept a slightly restless night. One of them almost got pulled into the woods by one of the, fairy lights. No big deal. And as traveling along, have all just witnessed a rather fresh elk kill by wolves that has just been left out as if the wolves were not interested in eating it. And as moving along, on the second day of travel, the trees are close. They are looming over the road. It is almost like, even though it's midday, the light is almost as if it is evening, as the trees are blocking out so much sunlight at this point. How are your characters feeling in this moment? Kind of going around, starting with Canario. How do you, at this point in the journey, the Twilight Wood looming over you, how's Canario doing after that combat and everything?
This is business as usual for Canario. It's not his first rodeo, and he's just glad that he's here to help those who need him. So he's rather just blasé.
And moving down to Mabe, how's Mabe handling all of this? Let's call it like floating, slight dread in the air.
Mave's doing pretty good. Faye is usually the source of the dread in the air, so it's not super noticeable. But I got some gold. I have a dead cheater's cards, which seems like a pretty good omen. Now I just need to find someone to teach me how to play.
How is B handling the road on this second day of travel?
B's doing all right. Physically, she's feeling very tired. She's very much not used to this kind of journey. But like mentally, she's feeling pretty good. She's feeling a little bit recharged. She kind of thrives on anger, I guess. So like the feeling of being watched, or the feeling of like something bad is about to happen, is something that really like it makes her feel more aware and more conscious and more confident about what's going on.
Yeah, you do notice as B's moving along that that one elf bard seems to be somewhat close again. Not speaking to you at the moment, but definitely eyes darting over, just trying to make eye contact on occasion.
B would definitely notice that and glance up maybe once or twice, but then like very pointedly try to ignore the glances and like look down at a book or like a notebook or something, and just like very consciously hiding from the elf.
I think at one point when you're stealing those glances, they catch you looking, and you just see a big smile spread across the face, and they kind of walk off to a different part of the caravan. Zia, what is Zia doing? Or how is Zia doing?
Zia's doing pretty well. They're keeping an eye on the person that started the fight the night before if they can.
They are
trying to be a little like trying to intimidate them, like, don't start shit, I will kill you.
Yeah. Would you be amenable that Thurum, knowing you, has just tossed him on the back of your wagon, basically bound up?
Yes.
Yeah. As he is sobered up and is having, in conjunction to being bound and arrested, just the worst day because also hungover. And is just sitting there just like, you gotta let me go.
Only way I'm letting you go is into the woods.
I could just take the road back. It's only one day. I could make it. I can make it.
Nope.
What are they gonna do to me?
You made a goblin attack me. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. It came from me. I wasted one of my shots on it. And if you don't play your cards right, I'm gonna waste another on you.
I was just angry. I was just angry. I didn't mean to do it. I just drank so much and I was just so mad. He was cheating. He was taking all of my money.
And that's why when he's asleep, you go back and steal it back. You don't stab him in the middle of camp, in the middle of the Twilight Forest.
Yeah, I was
There are
pretty drunk.
better ways to deal with it. Also
And-
ways that don't spill blood.
And Werner comes by and is just like, "Oh, don't worry. We're gonna hand you over to Lord Brunn when we get to Told. He has a special way of handling murderers." He goes, "I'd rest up. You're gonna be running quite a lot." As he moves off, and you see, what does that mean? Hi, Raiders. Welcome in. As he's just like, what does that mean?
Best not to tell you, to be honest. It's kinder.
He just kind of looks down and spends much of the rest of the day being very quiet. And then Agnieszka, what does Agnieszka do with this day after seeing that elk corpse?
Honestly, as unsettling as that is, it's not that she feels a lack of unsettlement. It's just that everything is less unsettling when you're on edge. It's when everything is quiet and everything's going according to plan and like according to normal that she's very uncomfortable. So now it's just sort of like just the right amount of adrenaline or whatever it is that Grendels do. And yeah, it's just basically like hoping that if it is what I think it is, she's hoping that she doesn't catch a whiff of that wind, but she kind of wants to again because it's exciting.
You do catch a whiff of something.
Oh, great.
It smells like something dead. Something that's been dead for a little bit. A couple hours after the elk, you see another body on the side of the road. This one appears to be a wolf. Several days dead. That's not the concerning part. The concerning part is the small animals gathered around it. Squirrels, rabbits, seemingly to be eating. And everybody, even the veterans of this road, see this. This is different. This is new. And I need you all to roll me resolve tests at -10 because this is a fear test.
Oh,
So resolve, and you are lowering your target number by 10.
Well, that's a fail.
You're going to take 2d10 plus 2 of mental peril.
I made a 4.
You rolled a 4? All right.
I rolled a 4.
Kyle is just like iron, just like
God.
To be
Also
fair,
rolled a 4.
is there?
It appears I either roll really well or really badly.
apparently.
I just took 16 mental peril, so there goes all of my training.
Are you at one
I'm gonna ignore 2 skill ranks.
and ignore 2 skill ranks?
Yep.
How's Zia doing?
Failure.
Roll me 2d10 and add 2.
Oh no. 5 total.
5 total. What is your peril threshold?
5.
Oh, it does not exceed. So while this freaks you out, you are able to shake it, and it doesn't stay with you all day. Did anyone else fail?
I got a 9. I'm like next to B, like, this is fucking metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bee's just standing there, like, because Bee's never been here before, right? And so she's just like looking around, like kind of like trying to read everybody's faces, but she's not very good at that. So she's like, this is normal. This is fine. Everything is fine.
This is very not normal and very not fine.
Oh, she didn't say
Okay.
that out loud. This was just like her internal
Never mind then.
internal monologue.
The rest of the day passes with Nothing more odd occurring, and you reach another campsite, more fire pits dug into the road, as this appears to be another of the travel stops. It takes you a bit longer to reach than the last one. Night is most definitely fallen when you reach this one, and this night is a bit more reserved. There's no celebration. People go about making their campfires, cooking their food, and then going to sleep, as the events of last night still weigh on everyone. It's a very, very quiet campfire that you all are sitting at. Is there anything that you would like to do before going to sleep?
Yes.
Canario, what would you like to do?
What are our sleeping quarters? Are we sleeping in tents?
I would say that they probably brought along tents to be either set up on the roadside, or also certain wagons just get like sleeping areas, or like stuff is pushed to the side and there's enough room for like one or two people to lay in the wagon, not comfortably, but enough to sleep.
I assume that Canario would be one of the ones on the wagon. He just stays up writing something with a little candle by his side. So it's rather visible for everyone. You can definitely tell from the silhouette that he's still up.
Perfect. We'll come back to you. What does Agnieszka do?
Just kind of quietly sitting around the fire with anybody that's still awake and uneasy, telling stories just very softly. The drum doesn't come out because I'm kind of on edge and not wanting to make a lot of loud noise in the forest late at night. But yeah, I mean, there's always those kind of stories that as very as a skald, like well practiced at putting people at their ease when they're feeling uneasy. So there's probably a fair amount of stuff that people would know from, familiar childhood fairy tales. There's probably a couple good fart jokes in there, just stuff to try and like help people relax a little bit.
Excellent. Zia, what does Zia do this evening?
Zia would do a walk around the outside of the campsite, like still in the campsite, just not quite in the forest. And they're looking to see if there's any damaged trees around.
Oh, are you looking for loose firewood?
No, she's looking for sap.
Oh, so just on the side of the road?
Yeah, like close enough that she can quickly grab it.
Roll me a, let me see what the appropriate roll would be for this. My initial thing is to say roll me a survival. And it's in your perception. As you're attempting to identify a tree that would give sap within range.
If I had to roll above, I'd be doing great.
I know sometimes you gotta just like have a little chat with the dice and be like, this is a roll under system. So we've talked a lot about rolling high, but for tonight,
do the opposite. Do the bad thing.
So with that, you aren't able to find the trees near the road, and it is very noteworthy that the plant life seems to come right up to the road and then stop. And all of the plant life near the road appears to either not be particularly like dry wood that isn't particularly giving sap at the moment. What? Would you do anything else?
I really want that dang sap. They'd go to where their wagon is, and take like a step into the forest to see if they can find a tree within sight, but keeping 1 foot in the campsite and 1 foot in.
As you step into the forest, we're going to quickly cut away because we're going to come back to you. What is B doing?
B would be around the campfire with Agnieszka, just kind of sitting there, like participating, like kind of half participating and trying to like pay attention and build kind of a rapport with the other people listening. And then as that kind of breaks into a lull, B is, and as that's happening too, she's going to keep a careful eye on that elf because she's not very suspicious of the elf because she now thinks that the elf knows something that the elf shouldn't know. And then as there's a lull in the conversation around the campfire, B is gonna once again go off to some kind of secluded area and try to practice candlelight again.
Roll me another incantation test.
If it's okay with you as well, Agnieszka would just sort of like follow along at a distance to be like, okay, this is a creepy forest that we're in. Don't go off. Like, I'm not like right up in your business, but just keeping an eye out because the flesh-eating rabbits and squirrels are kind of unsettling.
Yeah, I think if B didn't like see you, and I mean her perception is pretty good, but if you weren't like within sight, she would probably still just like not know you were there and not really look for you. I rolled 26 under 52.
So you were casting candlelight, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now this is under generalist magic, so candlelight. So you create. Well, how? So let's say this. Do you create a bit of flame, or do you create a bit of just pure light?
B is just trying to get anything to like come out of her hands. Like she's thinking about flame, but if it takes her more than a couple tries, she might get more agitated and produce something a little bit more reckless.
So as you do that, you kind of rubbing your fingers together, channeling the wind, you have a little spurt of flame just kind of jump from your fingers. Unexpectedly large, but not much larger than like the sort of tricks you can do with like a butane lighter.
And I'm gonna get really excited that I was able to do it right this time and like quickly forget about it and like let it go and be like, yes. And then probably just do that a couple more times before trying to settle down.
So I'm going to move to Mabe. And Mabe, what is Mabe's intention to do for this evening?
I think Maeve would have been hanging out with Agnieszka and B around the campfire, especially if Agnieszka was telling, kind of Fae-centric tales, because they remind Maeve of where Fae grew up. But I think once they and B kind of dipped and Maeve was left to her own devices, Fae might also try to find a secluded location and practice, the sight that witches have.
Go ahead and roll me that incantation test.
The sight that witches have.
Yeah,
Which side is that again?
Which side is that?
Okay, that's not bad. That's 32. That's within the threshold.
Oh,
within the threshold.
So,
I also want you to know that I have one corruption because of a thing, so I don't know if that affects anything.
One corruption. Yeah, we'll
get to that.
Yeah, So, as you focus, attempting to detect the swirling winds of magic, and again, you also having been taught some of the ways of magic, know that the wind is pure magic from the etheric realm, and when it enters the world, it is broken into the winds to make it essentially the nature of, as you were taught, the nature of this realm demands that magic be separated without it, or it would destroy very reality. And as it comes through, it embodies different aspects of powerful, like, elements is one way of putting it. And you can detect the individual flows of magic around you, but a few seem extraordinarily strong. You feel your skin just goose pimple as if cold, and you smell the smell of fresh flowers, as the green wind swirls around you, the wind of life, the wind of elementalism. But much, much, much stronger. You feel, or I would say you smell another smell. It's the smell of hounds and blood. And you feel that aggression rise up in you as the amber wind appears to be incredibly strong. And it flows around you, and the entire world seems to be caught up in this. And you suddenly are moving into beyond just seeing the winds. You see the forest almost as a center of the amber winds at the moment, as it just swirls all about you. And in your vision, you're walking under the trees, seeing figures move off to either side, some of them riding mounts, some of them with dogs on the side, the horns sounding, horns of the hunt. And it is then that you hear a voice speak to you as if in your own head. You are running from something, but you are not prey. There is potential within you. I could have a use for you. And as your vision clears, you're about 20 yards off the road in the forest. And as that vision was occurring, Zia, you poking your foot out into the forest, see Mabe striding into the forest. Canario sitting at your desk, you see the figure of Mabe walk right by you into the forest. And of course, the other two practicing magic on the edge of it also see Mabe just striding out into the forest.
Okay, here we go.
It's Agnieszka. Agnieszka.
Whirl around, and I'm just gonna run off to try and basically just like grab you by the back of your cloak or your clothing or whatever, and just be like, do not go into the forest.
At this point, by the time you catch up to him, you're a good 30 yards into the forest. And the obscurement's quite intense, but it's all right. It's all right. You can see the light of the campfires.
Oh. Okay.
As you all begin to move, you walk and walk and walk. And the campfires don't seem to get any closer. And all of a sudden,
I want to say really quickly that B would have also like seen Mabra now and kind of gone after them a little bit. So I would also.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I was dealing with something over here. I thought all of you had moved off after Mabe in one form or another. Is that fair to say, or did you all move off?
At this point, yeah. I'm going after Faye.
So, as you all begin looking about, the firelight suddenly scatters as several different lights move off, and it was the hag lights that led you even deeper into the forest.
Awesome.
So you're all now, it's night, and you are all an unknown distance into the forest at this moment. As one of the trees next to you it's a shorter tree. It's not quite like a massive oak. It's something young and not about 2 stories tall, essentially, as it looks down, and it just, in a wispy, creaking voice, it looks down at all of you and just goes, "Meet off the road." And I'm going to need you all to roll initiative.
God dang it.
Did you spare some sap?
There we go. There we go. There it is.
An initiative is just a
What's the tree
D10?
beefing?
D10 plus your initiative bonus.
Because we're talking so much shit about the thick trees, and here the thick trees are.
Yeah.
I wasn't
We're
talking.
like, oh my
I'm
God.
a fan of the thick trees.
This is one of the smaller trees, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, so then that's
Never
fine.
mind.
We can
Yeah.
beef.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
That's
apologize. I said
probably
2
why it
stories
wants
tall.
to-
I meant about 2 meters tall. So
that's the
Stories,
that's,
meters,
I can
that's
tell you
not
what
a
that is.
tree.
It's very different. Okay.
yeah, that's a big difference. I
Oh,
apologize.
This
It's
is like a fucking sapling.
it's
That's
like
just
a
like, I'm gonna eat you. Is that what just happened? Like a
You-
little baby tree was
The
just like
pseudo
"Yeah."
water motherfucker.
Yeah, like rude. Okay, all right.
All right. So everyone's initiative in chat. I'm going to start making the.
Nope. Well, 17. But there we go.
Oh well.
I think.
By the
that
way,
Leah still gets tossed
To
out
make
first,
sure that
right?
I get everything right, I'm going to put the initiative into chat. But before we do anything, Zia, you get to act because you get a full turn at the top of any combat.
Real
to
quick,
ask.
Yeah.
Tom,
Yes.
for which site? A reagent is a blindfold placed over my eyes, so I just pinata'd my way basically into the
Yep.
woods.
You can reflavor the regions how you want, however you would like to do it. But yeah, if you want to be blindfolded, you just pin.
Oh yeah, I pinata'd my way.
You put so much like Vicks Vapor Rub on your like nose that your eyes just like
yeah,
you can't see shit.
All right. So now, what would you like to do, Zia?
I have 2 questions. One
Yes.
is, what kind of poison is Folkbane?
Folkbane specifically impacts mortals, so humans, dwarves, humans, dwarves, gnomes, that halflings, human-based creatures or human-like creatures.
Cool. Would it be possible for Zia to light black powder using her flintlock?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can she throw some black powder onto the tree and
Yeah.
try and like light it on fire, basically?
Yes. So I'll say for one action, you can like splash some black powder on it, and then you can try to light it.
Okay. What would I roll for that?
Let's say for that, it would be just your standard attack. So whatever you let's say ranged martial melee, martial ranged, because you're still working the flintlock.
Okay. No. Dang
No?
it. No, I
So,
rolled
I'm-
a... Oh, can I use a fortune point to reroll?
Absolutely. So you can re-roll that.
Yeah.
So that fortune point becomes a misfortune point for me.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not roll. That one likes to roll high. It can bugger off now. 40 under 46.
So you are able to scatter this and just put the pistol right against it, and you pull the flint, and it is a flame. So go ahead and roll me a d6
Okay.
for the initial damage.
6
6. It is going plus your, let's say, your combat bonus. So what is your
plus
combat bonus?
5.
And you roll a 6, correct?
Yeah.
Roll that dice again and add it on.
4. So 15 total.
15 total. As it begins to burn, it takes an additional 1 damage, which actually puts it over. It is now moderately wounded as it cries out in pain.
I've also
Fuck
got
that
another
tree.
1d6
Fuck that
fury
tree.
dice.
Fuck that tree. Fuck that tree. Fuck.
So now it is Canario's turn.
Oh,
Kanara, can you,
Oh, sorry, Zia. What would you want to do? Because that was 2 action points. So you got one more thing you can do. You can't attack.
1d6 fury dice to add to that.
Oh, do it then.
3, so 18 total.
That does not meet its next threshold. So it
Damn
still
it.
takes a lot of damage. It is not happy. But it is now Canario's turn.
Canario starts to break into a sprint. He removes his splitting maul, and he is going to bring that down on the tree.
All right, roll me that attack. I'm gonna say this is a charge, so if you hit, you do extra damage.
Oh shit! Well, funny
Yeah.
thing is, I hit by 1.
Ooh.
I was one off from
Then
not hitting.
roll 2d6 and add your combat bonus.
14.
14 damage. This is
Because
now
fuck that tree. Fuck that tree.
rolled. Okay, it's still not injured, but you take a whole section of like its branches off as you see two branches beginning to move, forming claw-like hands. As it now, as charging and attacking would be your entire turn,
Yep.
is going to slash at you with its branch claws. It is going to hit, and I'm going to need you to make an athletics test, as when it slashes you, the hands start to grow vines and wrap you.
Oh. 98.
98. You are stuck in the vines as they begin to constrict and crush you. You are going to take 9 damage. Does that beat your damage threshold?
Damage threshold is located where?
On your second page, top of your second page.
Yes. My
So you
damage
move down.
threshold is 5.
You move down 1. You are now lightly wounded. There's no impact on that other than that hurts.
It does hurt.
And it now is holding you, so you cannot really do anything except try to escape. As you all look around, and now several other trees around you begin to move and reach out. And I'm going to say that one of them is going to go after the Grendel with the day. Actually, one of them is going to go after the person who just lit their friend on fire. So
Fair.
that's a critical hit. So you cannot resist, as you are then wrapped up, and you are also going to take 9 damage as you are now being restrained, your feet being pulled off the ground as you are being held up. So now, Maeve, it is your turn as you hear all this happening around you with your blindfold on.
How does damage work?
How much?
Sorry.
What's your damage threshold?
I've got a peril threshold of 5.
On the second page, there's a damage threshold.
Oh, I don't have
And
that
then
page.
if I beat it with a 9, you go down one tracker.
Okay.
So you
Generally, it's your brawn bonus plus if you're
Plus your-
wearing any
yeah,
armor.
if you're wearing any armor. I seriously doubt with 9s that I'm exceeding 2 thresholds. I'm probably just moving you to lightly wounded. So you would be lightly wounded. This has no mechanical impact on you. It just hurts.
Okay.
So you are getting bad bruises and some scrapes and maybe some light cuts, but nothing else. So now, Mabe, what would you like to do?
I was just minding my business, Viva Pinataing, and then shit went down. How many shrubberies are we facing?
Two of these trees have attacked your friends, and there's another one beginning to move towards you all.
I assume Agnieszka is nearby me.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to try to go for a vow of fealty.
Ooh. Let me pull mine up to check that roll real quick. But vow of fealty. Is that one of your prayers?
That is a spell.
Ooh, what is that? So go ahead and roll me an incantation test. This is petty magic, right?
It's generalist magic.
Yeah,
I guess yeah, it is petty.
So then it's a flat test. So just roll incantation as is with your training.
With my training. Okay.
Yep.
That should be that's a 31. That should be okay.
All right. So what does that do?
The way I'm understanding is it's almost a gash. So as long as they're willing, I just kind of beef them up to do the thing I asked them to do.
All right. So what
Yeah.
do you ask her to do, or what do you ask them to do?
I think I basically, like, after hearing this hullabaloo, just kind of lift a little bit, like one eye, and see this going down. And I think I'm gonna wrap my spindly ringed fingers around one of Agnieszka's biceps, and just encourage them to fuck up some shrubberies.
Okay. I can work with that. Excellent.
Well, we are now moving into
Let me see if I roll anything for that.
I'm just looking up what that gives me.
While you look that up, I'm going to pass it to Bia. Or B, sorry, B. It's B's turn, and then we'll come to you. So what does B want to do in this moment? As there are now, and that other tree appears to be heading towards you.
What B is gonna do is try to start climbing the nearest moving tree.
All right.
Climb up one of the legs and try to aiming to get to sit on one of the arms.
Mm-hmm. So you roll me an athletics check to see if you can climb one of these.
I'm sensing a pattern. So that's a crit fail. I rolled a 55.
I'm gonna say, as you attempt to climb this, it literally swats you off, and you are now on the ground at its feet as it looks down at you. As its hand begins to reach down, it is going to be Anna's turn.
Okay, so first thing that I would like to do is to use my inspiring words, along with the Bard's Tale, to just basically encourage everyone that now is the time to snap the spindly trunks of these green wick-felled trees and ensure that they don't live to drop acorns. And that is my inspiring words. So I'm going to make a leadership test.
All right. And then this is going to raise everyone's damage threshold, correct?
Is this going to raise... It's going to do a lot because of the Scald ability, which makes it really good.
Oh, nice.
If it succeeds, I'm going to use a fortune point to reroll that, because that was
so we're
94.
now down to 2 fortune points left for all y'all, and 2 misfortune
points. That was an 87.
Oh,
so
no.
I still fail to get that off, which is extremely unfortunate because it would have been amazing if I could have done it. But then, emboldened by the vow of fealty that I have sworn to fuck up some shrubbery, I would like to take my mortuary sword and go after the one that is, I guess, just closest to me.
Oh, that would be the one reaching down for B at the moment.
Okay. So, oh man. Yeah, that's another miss. Oh, well.
Swing.
I just inspire and then
You swing and the blade gets actually caught up in the random small branches and leaves on this. And as you swing into it, the alignment of your edge just comes way off, and you end up slapping it with the flat of your sword, accomplishing nothing. It is now Zia's turn. As you are being held by this, you are going to need to try to break free, but this is going to be difficult. I'm going to need you to roll a let's see really quick. You are being grappled, which means you're technically being chokeholded, which means that you must roll athletics, and it's at a -20 to your target, as this thing is, the vines are literally wrapping all around you.
Okay. Can I just check? My damage threshold's a 3, so would a 9 move me down?
2.
Multiple?
It would move you down 2. So I need you to roll me a d6 then.
Oh no.
This is the one where you don't want a 6.
3.
You're good. It hurts a lot. It really, you feel like little pops in you as you're getting little sprains, and feels like you might have popped some cartilage in one rib. That's gonna hurt.
Yeah. I don't want to look at these dice.
Yeah.
Nope. I rolled an 83.
You are stuck, and at the bottom of the round, you all see what looked at first like just a very large red mushroom, and you see an arm come out from under it and out from under it, and it lifts up, and there is a face underneath, and it goes, "Well, what do we have here? A few mortals wandered off the road," as it sticks a pike in the ground to come up to its height of almost half a person, as it brings the pike around, and it's going to attack the Grendel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can still parry though because I have 1 AP.
So go ahead and roll me a test because I
banked.
succeeded.
Okay, I switched out my dice, so hopefully they don't fuck me over quite so much. Yep, that's a success. 37.
So you
under 56. Yeah.
As it kind of like does a testing thrust at you, you knock it aside, and it's going to bring the butt of its pole armor on. It's going to attempt to shove you towards one of the trees.
Okay.
So I'm going to need you to resist with an athletics test, as it's going to try to knock you back.
That's a success. 25 out of 49.
You lean into it, and you just do not move as it chuckles at you. Just, it's more fun when you put up a fight. And it's going to be Canario's turn.
Oh boy. Canaro's being grappled?
Yeah, so you're going to have to roll that athletics check at -20 as this thing is holding on to you.
-20.
Yeah. These things that the hands are literally growing longer around you.
I was close, but no cigar.
All right, so you are stuck. The next Dryad is going to try to grab B. Yeah, I failed, but I'm going to use one of my misfortune points.
Damn it, I forgot about that.
Is a success as it reaches down, and I need you to roll an athletics test as it grabs you.
Right. I gotta find my number again. Hold on. Literally one over. I rolled a 39 over 38.
You are wrapped up, and you take, mercifully, I rolled a 1. You take 5 damage as this is actually like trapping you down on the ground at the moment as the vines start growing and digging into the earth. The other Dryad has...
so my damage threshold is 2. So what does that mean?
You drop to You drop to lightly wounded.
Okay.
So no mechanical effect. So we're now currently 3 of you are entangled. You have a red cap facing you. As the red cap chuckles, the ground begins to shake slightly as a much larger tree appears to be approaching. This one appears to be a full-sized oak tree. As the Dryads are pulling, and one of them is pulling Canario in, and it is starting to dig its branches in, like trying to put it in. It goes, the sweet meats are on the inside, as it starts pulling, and the larger tree calls out, cease. Pale Oak has spoken. They cannot be touched. And the red cap turns and says, you cannot command us. The newcomer has said, any who stray off the road die. Pale Oak cannot countermand the newcomer. As they begin to squabble over what to do with you all. There's 2 of you free. What do the 2 that are free want to do? As we're currently leaving initiative.
I have who's the other person that's free along with me?
Maeve.
It's Maeve. Okay. Can I just be like to help them? And I would like to, being a fey creature myself, attempt to parlay with these beings and say it is impossible for us to stray off of the road because this is where I was born. I cannot be trespassing upon my own home, nor can people that are invited guests to where I am from be trespassing here.
The red cap turns to you and says, speak not lies. You have not the mark of the newcomer or the Twilight Court upon you. This is not your home. You cannot extend guest rights to anyone.
there is no blood here for you to dip your filthy little hats in.
Yet. As he looks at you, and the tree says, one was led off the road by sorcery. You cannot entice them off with sorcery. The laws have been violated. You cannot claim them. And the red captain goes, the newcomer has revoked the law. And Pale Oak, and he chuckles, Pale Oak is under the command of the newcomer. You know why. And the tree like grimaces and just very well. And it is in that moment that a huge pale white stag comes into the clearing, and Maeve hears again that voice inside as the voice speaks to you, saying, now is the time to run. And that is where we're going to call this session. So, nothing serious. We're fine. Everyone's fine here. So we're going to go around real quick. Everyone can reintroduce yourself. We'll check in how you're doing, and you can talk about any projects or streams or things that you're working on. And I'm going to go in reverse order from how we started, starting over with Anna. Anna, how are you doing? And what do you have going on?
Oh my goodness, I'm doing great. I'm just really excited to be here playing this game, and actually getting to be a Grendel, which is super, super exciting. I've never played a non-human ancestry in Spyhander before, so I'm really excited. What do I have going on? You can find me most places on the internet at Nymeria941. I'm actually one of the developers that works for the Spyhander RPG, so you can find me yelling and hollering about a lot of cool projects that I've been working on related to that. As far as other streams go that I'm in, obviously there's this one. Starting next week on Friday, a little bit earlier in the afternoon at 2 p.m. EST, I'm actually going to be playing in a game of Lancer over on Valdriant's channel on Twitch. I've never played that system before, but it's a really great cast, and I am super excited to learn everything that I don't know about mech stories. Additionally, you can find me this Sunday at my friend Colin's Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Colinomicon. We are going to be playing a game of Morkborg, where I'm playing, this sounds so ridiculous, a character who's gutter-born filth that smashes people with a hurdy-gurdy because it's a hurdy-gurdy, but it just hurts people. And then on Monday, we have the premiere of a new series that I am super, super excited for, also on that same channel, called Estate, which is a sort of Victorian cyberpunk series. And our group, the Troublemakers, is returning from our one-shot adventure for a sort of short-term series. So definitely check those out. And that is pretty much what I've got going.
Just saying that there might be some NPCs in this in which hitting monsters with musical instruments is their love language. So moving on down to Sia, or Faye. Sorry, Faye, how are you doing?
Sorry, that sounds like some aloe bullshit. I'm going no. So I'm Faye, or Almost Faye, on Twitter and Twitch. You can catch me here. And on the 23rd, I will be over on Drake Iceheart's channel playing a one-shot in D&D 5e, and I am a cleric of Hermes. Definitely a cleric of Hermes. Not anything
Nothing else?
Nothing else. Totally just, they know they're a cleric of Hermes. That's about it. I stream on my channel, and last month I started a see how many days I can daily stream for. So I stream on a daily basis now, and yeah, I'm hopefully going to be around more in TTRPG spaces. and annoying you all in the future with some Monster of the Week.
Oh, I love Monster of the Week. That is such a fantastic system. That is such a fantastic system. And oh, that would be fun. All right. Excellent. Moving on down. Kelsey, how you doing? And where can we find you?
Hi, I'm doing just dandy. I'm Kelsey. I have been Twilight Harper, and you can find me on Twitter as crochet_baby, and on TikTok and Twitch. I don't really do anything except be a chat gremlin on Twitch, but Twitch and TikTok, you can find me as crotchety old woman. I do fun TikTok things sometimes. I do a lot of crocheting, fiber arts type stuff. And as far as streaming goes, this is my one TTRPG thing because it is also my first long-term campaign. I'm so very excited. I definitely know nothing at all about these Monster of the Week rumors. But yeah, that's me.
Outstanding. We are happy and lucky to have you here for your first campaign. Moving on over. Velvet, how are you doing? And where can we find you?
I'm doing fantastic, loving the Fabe bullshit, and happy to have been the one to instigate it. You can all find me pretty much everywhere on the interwebs at OG Brown Sugar, mainly on the Burb app and Twitch. I was sick for a while, but I'm hoping to get back into my usual schedule this coming week. You can also find me on Chromatic Chimera Thursday evenings for Olympus 20 something future. I forget the last two numbers. You can find me every other Monday on Everybody Crits for Ex Millennials with the lovely Julio, as well as the Stories of a Broken Sun and Flight Risk podcasts, where I play equally fucking chaotic people.
Everyone needs to go check those out because we all could use a little more brown sugar in our life. Moving on over.
What up?
How you doing? And where can we find you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fan-damn-tastic. My name is Julio once again. You can find me at Poppy Champlu. And on every alternating Monday, actually, we'll be playing this Monday, I believe, Velvet. Checks out. We're playing this Monday at Everybody Crits, a game called Ex Millennials. It's a reimagining of what if the X-Men were founded in the 2000s. So definitely check it out if you're available. Besides that, I'm just flitting around on the internet, so you can find me anywhere. I'm there.
Ah, very good. And before I get to me, just first of all, like, this cast is amazing, and I am so happy to be playing with you all. That was a great first session, and I cannot wait to get into more of this campaign with all of you. Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. I am Tom TP Grant. You can find me at TP_Grant on Twitter, where I talk about TTRPGs and also back like when the pandemic's over, probably sport of violence again, as I do enjoy that also. In terms of where you can find me, this is one of my only weekly stream at the moment. I'm scaling back a little bit, but tomorrow night I'm going to be on Master of the Game YouTube playing a monthly game where I'm playing my first ever Warlock in D&D. I just never got around to that class. When you end up GMing a lot of stuff, there's a lot of character concepts that get put on the shelf. So I finally went for my Doc Holliday inspired Warlock. So I'm playing Riley. And I'm gonna drink whiskey and I'm gonna start fights, and that's what I do. And you can find me over there, but you can also find me here on Friday nights playing Twilight Road, and I'm so excited to come back here. But until next week, we will see you all later. Thank you so much for coming in, joining in chat, and being so active. And we will see you all next week.